And welcome to a new episode of a Dynasty Mind. After some fiasco last night, I was hoping to get a recording done, but thankfully, Devin, you found time to come back and redo this. I have to profusely apologize, but I want to make sure that our audience can discover your work and the work that your team put together for as a Dynasty tool. So let's introduce yourself again. Devin, tell us a little bit about yourself, your career in Dynasty football, and how you come about get to this point in your Dynasty career.
Yeah, so I started my first Dynasty League. It's a home league with a bunch of guys that I know back in 2015. We've been doing draft leagues together for a while and decided to get into Dynasty. And one league spiraled into three the following year. And now I think at this point I'm in double digits somewhere. I lost track along the way. But after year one in Dynasty, one of my friends and I, we decided to start a website and a podcast. And so we originally launched as Dynasty Football Focus back in 2016. And then that's kind of evolved. We're now Dynasty 101 and we've brought a few more guys on board. So that's where we're at today. We are still running strong with our weekly podcast, and we're putting out things like rankings and articles and all sorts of great stuff. So, yeah, that's kind of my background as far as Dynasty goes.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it gets addicting. Heading into year three, year four of my own self, I was about in 12 different leagues, and right now I'm trying to cut down and became like 15 leagues. I don't know how the math works anymore, but I enjoy it, and I enjoy particularly the different formats. And that's kind of what your show has been about, trying to investigate different leagues, formats that are out there. And for those who don't know, Devin and Drew and his team is just releasing new podcasts that I'll refer you guys to listen to if you want ideas, fresh ideas for your Dynasty League. But tonight we're talking about a tool that everyone can use, and this is the great time of the year where people are just putting out stuff to help people who don't have enough time on their hand to go look at who these rookies are. But even tomorrow night, we're starting to figure out this weekend, we're going to find out where the rookies are going to land, where they are going to be, who are they going to be playing for, and how do they fit in our dynasty league, how do they fit in our fantasy team. So tell us about your guide that you are releasing, and how many have you published so far, and what has the thought process behind developing a guide like this?
Yes, so this is release number two of the Rookie Digest. Our first edition was last year, and it kind of started because my partner and I, we have enjoyed reading the work of other people, but felt it was important to really invest some time and effort into watching film and looking at rookies ourselves. And we kind of wanted to take an approach of combining film watching and metrics, combine those two together, kind of bring our overall thought process to the table. So we were planning on doing that for ourselves and thought, hey, if we're going to do all this work for ourselves, we might as well share that with other people as well. So we launched our first Rookie Digest publication last year. We've just had one publication this year. We've kind of branched out and doing a pre-draft version and then a post-draft version. And so really what we do is we look at all of the offensive skill positions, analyze film, watch, and kind of look at some advanced metrics and positional metrics, combine and pro day measurables, all that good stuff, and kind of formulate our opinions from there.
That's awesome. And today's NFL world, we definitely need things where metrics and film come together. And I think when I got a little preview of your work, I do see that. I do see that there's a combination of both and marrying both together. I think you guys did an excellent job. Now, describe for our people who may be interested, who wanting to know about this guide. What can buyers expect to? What kind of content do they expect? You mentioned there's a pre and post draft updates or guides, and who are your targeted audience for this guide?
So this year we've added a couple new things to our guide. One of the big things that had been requested after our initial release last year was player comparisons, and it's a tough business to get into with comparing rookies coming into previous NFL players. But we've really put a lot of time and effort, and we think that we've at least gotten it decent this year to add those player comparisons. So what we've got right now, basic version launched, and we went through and we just kind of chose. I think we went 20 or 30 deep at the big two positions, running back and wide receiver, and then a little less deep at QB and tight end. But that's kind of, we just chose guys that we thought were the most relevant at the position. And obviously, come post draft, we're going to have additional analysis on all of those players. Plus, we'll be adding in some additional players that ended up being drafted, or some of those priority undrafted free agents coming in. So our target audience is basically just your average Joe Dynasty player who's looking to get some additional information about rookies and kind of prep themselves for rookie drafts coming in.
Yeah, so it's really a guide that's catered to the fantasy audience, where you have a fantasy slant into this and not let the noise of the scouting terms and how maybe guys like Bucky Brooks or DJ influence your thought, because a player who might be good in real life might not always be fantasy relevant, and we don't always have the information or the mindset to tease those out. So this is the guide that you guys put together to help everyone kind of do that. So that's awesome. And you put in a lot of time. I know you guys put in a lot of time into this. We talked a lot about the different things you kind of put in together. So what stands out from your guide, and how can people benefit the most from it, from watching your guide?
Yeah, so something that is really unique about ours is 2 off seasons ago, so prior to last off season, I really got interested in. I work as a data analyst in my real day-to-day job. I got really interested in kind of looking at some of success stories of the league, and seeing what types of metrics and measurables and things like that were ended up being predictive of future fantasy football success. And so I took a dive into fantasy football players going back 10, 15 years, and started with about a list of 30 metrics or so at each position, and analyzed those through a statistical regression to basically narrow down metrics one by one until I was left with what was deemed statistically significant by this model. And so I took that research and developed what I have called or named the Predator score, which is the predictive analysis and testing of rookies. And so basically what the score is, you'll see on all the prospect pages, there's a Predator score listed. And that score is basically the percent chance prediction by the model of how successful a player is going to be. So for QBs, it's a top 12 QB for tight ends, and running backs for wide receivers, it's a top 24 season. So we kind of look at all of these rookies coming in every year and analyze them based on what metrics we found to be statistically significant, and assign grades for them. Obviously, no model's perfect, but we feel like when you combine that with the other information we provide through film analysis and statistics and other metrics and measurables, it kind of is a really good gauge when you're maybe weighing 2 different players and trying to make that final decision when you're on the clock.
Yeah, and I've shown our guest here, our audience, that some preview as you were talking about some of what they can get and what the Predator score was. Right now I'm pulling up the accuracy, and you've just these past few seasons, you found a very high accuracy. It's in the 70% percentile or 70% score. And that's kind of exciting to hear that something that highly, I would correlation maybe. I need to brush up on my statistics as well, but it's really helpful to see that this model that you kind of put together had such high success rate, and something that our audience or your readers, your buyers, can benefit from and get a good sense of which players, what their pre-draft score was, and how does that look like maybe post-draft. Maybe opportunities will influence it, our draft positions. I think those are some of the factors that can influence it. So that's awesome to hear, and I'm excited to delve into this. So tell us, when's the release date? What are the costs? Where can people find it? And anything else you'd like to add to tonight's show?
Yeah, so the pre-draft version is available now. You can get that on our website, dynasty101.com. So that's available there, and if you purchase that, the purchase price is $7.99. And we're targeting 10 to 14 days after the draft to get our post-draft update out and released to everybody. And so that's going to have additional information and analysis in it. So obviously, if you purchase the pre-draft version, you're going to get that post-draft update for free. As a thank you to you, Chris, and for everybody listening, we have set up a special promo code. If you use the promo code podcast, you're going to get $1 off of that purchase. So that should bring the price down to $6.99. And hopefully, all you listeners will find this guide useful and helpful in your rookie drafts.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you so much for just presenting this to our audience. I know I tweeted out this morning about buying a cup of coffee and just thinking of how much I could have spent on a guide, and yeah, it just makes so much sense. So for $6.99, guys, if you use the promo code podcast, if you go on the site, which I will leave in the YouTube link accompanying this video. Thank you so much, Devin. Tell people where they can find you, where they can find your future work, and just how they can communicate with you.
Yes, so our main website and podcast is at D101 underscore HQ. And personally, I've got my Twitter account at D101 underscore Devin. So I'm pretty active on both of those. Feel free to send your trade questions over, trade polls, whatever. Help you out there retweeting that. So hit us up with anything that you may have.
Awesome. And guys, you can find me at FF Dynasty101. Both of our handles you can see on this video. Look out for us tomorrow night during the draft. We are hoping to do a live show, or we are going to do a live show, not hoping, and
Yes.
breaking down firsthand what our thoughts are, and if we're excited about the landing spot, if we're gonna throw up like last year where I found out John Ross went to the Bengals. It's a lot of fun. It'll be the four of us again.
Yes, I think we've got 4, and we're going to have some guests. We've got a call line set up for us out there to call in with questions about the picks, so should be fun.
Yeah, so you hear it here first, guys. If you want to call in, let us know your thoughts. Let us know if you agree or disagree with our takes. We will tweet out that how you can get in touch with us and join us for tomorrow. Thank you so much, Devin, and have a great night.
Appreciate it.